Welcome to the Baseball Insiders. The Philadelphia Phillies still take a 2-0 lead in a game 3 of the NLCS. Who saw that coming? Most people. While the Houston Astros stay alive on the road in Texas, as everybody knew they would. I am Adam Weinerb, and I am joined today on the show by Peter Dewey because MLB scheduled a playoff game in Arizona for 5 o'clock Eastern for some reason today. So that's where Arizona native Robert Murray is. But Peter, thanks for filling in for him as you often do.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited. We got hopefully two good games tonight. I'm looking forward to this playoff baseball slate today.
I hope so. And I don't really know if I care about the Diamondbacks Phillies series being good, but hopefully fans in Arizona show up, show out, show some love to that team that has tried so hard this year, accomplished so much. I saw the get-in price tickets were $14 last night. I had friends from the Philadelphia area texting me, hey, let's fly to Arizona. We can be there for Thursday's game. We can go to Thursday and Friday for $97. I was like, that's a pretty good idea. But we did not do it. But that's the place that we're in right now, where Philly fans are like, should I fly to the desert to see my team for under $800? I don't know, maybe.
It's honestly crazy to me, just like especially just because Arizona hasn't been like made a playoff run like this in so long. Like that the fact that you can get tickets for that cheap and it's not sold out is nuts to me. I feel like there's if you did that for a Phillies game, I mean, they would sell out in 10 seconds. So it's just wild to me the other way around. That's like Philly fans are like, we should do this, but Arizona fans aren't buying the tickets. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, and like 2-0, not a death sentence. Like it's unlikely,
No,
but we saw what Houston did yesterday, and you're coming home in this instance.
exactly. They're at home. So I mean, if you take care of business, like it's a 3-game series. Obviously, it's not going to be easy to just take care of business, but they're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, we'll talk about that and more, plus the Red Sox GM search. They're probably going to hire somebody smart, but they missed out on what I would consider the biggest possible home run this week. Then we'll run, prior to that conversation, my interview with Pudge Rodríguez, Hall of Famer, on behalf of Saks Underwear. I don't know if you've seen the video of him and Eno Saris walking around in extremely tight underwear that's been circulating this week. Congrats to the team in charge of getting a Hall of Famer to do that on camera. But we talked to him about that promo and plenty more about the Rangers run. So please stay tuned for that. This show is sponsored by DraftKings. We are running a postseason promotion on DraftKings that you will not want to miss. If you're a new user, please use our code to get the most out of it. You can place a $5 first bet to instantly claim $200 in bonus bets. You will also be rewarded with a separate no-sweat single game parlay every single day when you opt in. All you have to do is sign up with our code Baseball Insider. It's on the screen. Using our code Baseball Insider not only gets you these great bonuses, it also directly supports the podcast. So if you've been considering signing up for DraftKings, make sure to use the code Baseball Insider to maximize your first bets and parlays. This offer is only available to new customers who are 21 plus and physically present in legal gambling states. Please remember to always gamble responsibly and check the episode description for the full terms of the offer to make sure you qualify. And while you're doing that, join us in the Baseball Insiders Discord, where you're able to talk to Robert Murray, myself, Peter Dewey's in there between shows, answering your questions. Ping us if you got thoughts. We're happy to address them. And hit Peter if you need gambling tips. Peter, where are you on current, like, do you have a World Series, like, favorites? You have World Series futures that you're riding out, or are you just sort of playing it by ear?
So I have one World Series future because I do it every single year now. I bet the Astros to win the World Series to save myself from the pain if they end up winning the World Series. So that's the only one I have left. But I'm not rooting for it, unfortunately. Like I don't want to see them win, but it's like a little emotional hedge going on there. But I took the first couple games. I've loved Texas in this series. I took them to win each of the first 3 games. Obviously, kind of backfired the other night, but I just think the way it's landed, like the matchups and then them being dogs, and I thought they had the advantage in 2 of the pitching matchups already
Mm-hmm.
so far. I was like, you know what, why not? So, yeah, I'll drop some picks if I have any for tonight, obviously in the Discord.
I like Texas too. We'll talk about them in a little bit. I did the emotional hedge thing when the Yankees and Red Sox played each other in 2018. Had a Red Sox buddy who was like, let's just put $100 on this series so that like nobody is sad at the end of it. And I was overseas for for the end of that series. I flew out of the country when it was 1-1. Time zone was crazy. Like couldn't really watch game 3. They got obliterated. And then I saw them go down early in game 4. I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I'm not going to watch this. Missed that whole crazy 9th inning, but woke up with $100 in my account. And I was like, great. We didn't do shit. We didn't rally. My life is over. But you know what? That's okay. I did make $100.
There you go. That's the emotional hedge is a good thing sometimes. You need it.
I endorse.
It's not the best gambling strategy by any stretch of the imagination. I wouldn't always recommend it, but from time to time it does pay off a little bit.
Yeah. Well, especially if it's Yankees Red Sox. If you're betting on the Red Sox in that series, you've been correct since 2004. So good job. Good job. Good effort with the emotional hedge. A lot of teams complained last week about having too much time off. All the top seeds got to wait around. They lost in the ALDS, NLDS. We talked to Curtis Granderson about this earlier in the week. He said it's real. He said his Tigers felt like they had too much time off between the ALCS and the World Series in 06. We might be on the verge of seeing if the Phillies are susceptible to the too much time off curse, because game 1 was a 5-0 game that became 5-3, but was never that close, even as the tying run came to the plate in the 9th. Spoiler alert, that guy grounded into a double play. But game 2 was a spectacle. Merrill Kelly poked the bear, said, I expect that the Venezuela crowd for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic would be more intense than what I'm about to see in Philadelphia tonight. He grew up in Philadelphia. He was probably wrong. Even the Venezuela fans were like, no, we're actually not that intense. Good luck. Good luck with all that. I fear is not the correct word, because Arizona has certainly had a representative playoff run. They should feel very proud of themselves. But Gallen and Kelly going 1-2. Neither was, the Gallen game was competitive, but they maybe win it if he's able to put together a representative start. Kelly gets blasted. That game gets out of hand fast. I fear we may be on the verge of a sweep here.
Yeah, I thought for Arizona they had to win one of those first 2 games, even just in the hostile environment, just because of the pitchers they had on the mound. Like winning the Wheelers, like against Wheeler, would have been tough, but like that's what you have Zach Gallen for. That's why he was a Cy Young candidate. Like that was the game you had to hope your best on best, maybe you can steal one. And now to come into game 3 and you got to go up against Suarez and you have a rookie on the mound is not an ideal scenario to be when your back's against the wall. It felt like, if Arizona could put up a fight, like even if they could have played a couple close games where it felt like game 1, you're right. It didn't even feel like they were in the game. Like it felt like the game was over and then it was like, oh, they scored a couple runs, but like you never really felt like they had a chance. If they had put up a fight in one of those 2 games, maybe you feel a little bit better going back into game 3, but it feels like the series is already over. And like I said at the top of the show, like it's not. They could win both of these games and we could be going back and it's tied, but I just don't know. At this point, I felt like they had to win one of those 2 games just with the pitchers they had on the mound. Like when you have your best guys out there, you can't afford to lose and lose as badly as they did.
It's 5-3 also in game 1 because Sir Anthony Dominguez just threw a double play ball into center field. Like it doesn't even get that close if the Phillies don't make sort of a weird little, took your eye off the ball, oopsie in the middle of that game. Credit, I mean, we're saying it's not over, but it's over. I mean, the Phillies went out and took it, regardless of whether the crowd was loud, regardless of the Nola and Wheeler pitching performances. They just hit a home run every 5.5 minutes in this series. Like Schwarber comes up, he homers. Harper comes up in the first inning of game 1, he homers. Trey Turner effortlessly launches one into left field, and it's like, here we go. I've seen this already, but I'm somehow not tired of it. And I think some of that felt like we saw this last year. They were fated to win the World Series last year, and then America's darlings, the Houston Astros, did it instead. So if Philly gets one, then America might sway back in the other direction. So Cap's seen it already. Next. Now these guys can't be killed. But, until they get one, I do think America at large is kind of going to be in this annoying, brash Philadelphia team's corner, which is kind of a surprising place to be.
Yeah, I think also Bryce Harper just being the face of that team, like he's an easy guy to root for just with the way he plays the game, and he's super emotional, and I think like a lot of people can get behind that. But a lot of like Justin in the chat is making some really good points. Like
yes,
the Phillies went out and got they've gone out the last couple off seasons, like said, we are going to buy a World Series if we have to. Like we're going to do everything we can to win a World Series. And you look at some of these teams that have lost. Like I mean, he made some really good points in the chat. Like Baltimore obviously has a low payroll. Braves didn't really spend too much, but they had a good team that they were running back. And then you look at the Dodgers and it's like the Dodgers got a little frugal in the offseason in terms of what they were doing, and Philly's kind of gone after it. But now you get to a point where it's like, hey, we're going to go after it this much. You have to win one at some point, because I do think if they don't win it this year and they go out and they sign a bunch of more guys next time, then you're going to start getting the hate. Like everybody's like, all right, they got the second high, like if they have the second highest payroll in baseball, like that type of stuff you're going to see. But I think right now they're a fun team to watch too. Like you talk about, the title of the segment, Phillies Blast Off. Like they hit towering home runs, like in crucial moments. It's a fun game to watch. Like, just as well as I do, watching the Yankees the whole season, it's boring baseball. This is fun baseball to watch. So, I got to say, like, it's hard not to root for them. Cause like, I feel like they're the best team left right now. I want to see them in the World Series. Like I want to see the two best teams in the World Series. I don't want to, if Arizona wins the series, like credit to them, but like Philly's playing so well right now. It's like hard. I don't want to see them stop at that point.
You do wonder at a certain point, like if they do have to go back into the offseason and spend more, you wonder at what point is it like one too many apples and they all roll out. Like Cody Bellinger feels like not such a bad fit here, especially because Rojas is in center, great defensively, but he's a rookie with a rookie bat. Like, yeah, who knows? Yeah, but you do want to see them do it sooner rather than later. And they have to take care of Aaron Nola this offseason.
Yeah.
Who every start he makes at Citizens Bank, the announcers say this might be his last time in the building. And it's like, is that really a possibility? Robert and I will talk about this at a certain point. I'll press him on it because we talked about it in the offseason and in the regular season when Nola's camp said, no more discussions, no more extension talks. We're riding it into free agency. They can't actually let him get out of here, can they?
I would think no. Like the fact that you've made the NLCS back-to-back years, possibly going to make the World Series in back-to-back years. And if they somehow win the World Series this year, how can you justify, with how well he's pitched this postseason, letting him walk? Like it would be an insane move of like, we have a championship team, but like we're just going to let our number two, who at times can be a number one, just go. Like it doesn't make any sense. Obviously, if the talk was he was asking for the 8-year deal, I believe it was, and like that would put him till he was 39. I could understand maybe not wanting to give him that deal, but you also got to hope on the front end 4, maybe 5 of those years, he's still a top line pitcher for you. So I think with the way they've built this baseball team, like where they've made all these moves to kind of go all in, it would be the craziest 180 of all time to let Aaron Nola walk this offseason after all the success they had by going all in and saying, we're going to pay this guy, we're going to pay this guy, we're going to pay this guy, and be like, the guy who's been here throughout all of that, yeah, he's gone, he's out of here. Like to me, that wouldn't make any sense, especially because of Dombrowski's MO too. Like I feel like his MO is like, screw it, we don't care about the farm system, we're just going to get the guys that we can get to win now. Like it makes the most sense.
Nobody does it like Dombrowski. And they also have good pitchers at the top of the farm system. McGarry, Painter, like there are more arms coming. Some of them might be injured. Some of them might be battling Tommy John right now, but they'll be here. So the Phillies have built something fairly sustainable, but we'll see what happens as the offense ages. Not the time, though. Again, go win one now. Justin, well aware from the Yankees' perspective. Brian Cashman said the Yankees had too many outfielders. He proudly didn't pursue Bryce Harper. He was like, that's too obvious. I don't want anybody thinking about, we're never doing the Bryce Harper thing. We got Clint Frazier and we got Aaron Hicks out here, and we obviously have Brett Gardner. It's just too many outfielders, and you can't blame him. That is too many outfielders. Plus Jordan Montgomery, though, he actually was right about that. The Jordan Montgomery they had last year would not have made their playoff rotation, but the Jordan Montgomery who met Mike Maddox, who told him to emphasize his fastball and use his curveball instead of trying to learn a cutter, that guy would have made the Yankees playoff rotation. So that's everybody's mistake. Like they hadn't met the real Jordan Montgomery yet because they were too stupid to coach him right. But that guy would not have made the rotation because he wasn't that good.
How many Yankees starters have we seen? Sonny Gray, Jordan Montgomery leave, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, if they actually pitch the way that they were supposed to pitch, they're not that bad. But when you try and force guys to pitch the way they're not supposed to pitch, they stink. It's crazy.
It's interesting. Well, the whole Rangers rotation, except for Max Scherzer, is former Yankees. It's Eovaldi, it's Jordan Montgomery, it's Andrew Heaney, and the Houston Astros got the game they needed last night. I foresaw a Scherzer stinker ever since he argued his way back into the rotation based on one bullpen session, and he was not ready for prime time, unsurprisingly. The Astros could not, I mean, again, the series, hot take guy, it's over if they go down 3-0, but it would have been. So they need to go ahead and win that game on the road if they want a chance. And they batter Scherzer. I was proud of the Rangers for late in that game, threatening against the bullpen a little bit. But unsurprisingly, Ryan Presley held it down as he always does. And now you think this is borderline a must-win game tonight. And I would agree, if they don't win this but win game 5, they feel like the 2017 Yankees going to Houston.
Oh, 100%. I think this is one of the rare instances where it's a team at home in game 4 when they still have another home game in the series and it feels like, and they're up and it feels like a 1000% must win. They lose this game, especially because Urquidy's on the mound. Out of all the Houston pitchers you want to face, it's Urquidy. He's gotten rocked this year. His advanced numbers, his hard hit percentage is horrible. He's given up a ton of home runs per 9 innings. Like, this is the matchup if you're a Texas team who has kind of gotten by on offense for a lot of this season. Like, this is the perfect matchup for you right here in this game. So if they lose this one and you're telling me, yeah, you got to go back to Houston and you're like, no matter what, you're going back to Houston, you're done. I think they're done at that point. You're putting the Astros in a position that they've been way too many times, and a position that Texas with this core has not been in at all. So you go up 3-1, you got to feel pretty confident you can take one of the next 3, I would think. But you lose tonight and you let them get the momentum and even it, like, it's a nightmare waiting to happen at that point for Texas.
Jose Altuve with the 8 home runs in 8 games at Globe Life this year. I think he might just silence the crowd again with a first inning shot today off Andrew Heaney. And if that happens, we'll see the ball start to roll in the other direction. I thought Altuve went yard with 2 outs in the 9th inning of game 2. I also thought Jeremy Pena went yard in the 9th inning of game 2. So they fooled me twice. I don't think you can kill this Houston team till it's dead. Tonight is going to be a dogfight for sure. But why not take advantage of the all Texas ALCS and talk to a Rangers legend and Hall of Famer? That is why we got Pudge Rodríguez on the show this week. I recorded the interview earlier in the week. Pudge was more than willing to talk about his Hall of Fame career, the Hall of Famers he's gotten close with, Bruce Bochy, Evan Carter, everything that makes this year's Rangers great and where his teams stack up. So please enjoy this interview with Pudge Rodríguez, and I'll see everybody when we get back. We're on the Baseball Insiders with Hall of Famer, Texas Rangers legend, Marlins World Series champion catcher Pudge Rodríguez. And Pudge, you are here on behalf of your partnership with Saks and the Ballgorithm you are introducing this October. I would love if you could tell me more about all that.
Well, the Ballgorithm is obviously is an idea that we did, with Saks. Obviously, it's a fun commercial. Obviously, we're going to talk about stacks, talk about numbers, comparison, and it's fun. It's a lot of things that we did during the commercial, but basically the important part is just the stacks underwear. So obviously it's a great obviously it's a great fit. It's a great commercial. Obviously it's fun, and basically what we help in the Testicle Cancer Foundation is very important, and I think it's very important to know how important to go and check. Obviously, and that's the reason that we put in this promotion during the World Series, because obviously it's a cure. Obviously, it's a cancer that you can get it early, but obviously you can get cured doing it and check and pay attention. So the underwear is made for that. Obviously, there's a area right there. Then you're gonna be is helping this area just to be more comfortable, and basically the underwears are very comfortable as well.
Amazing. Well, it's certainly a fun product, but definitely, you're right, a much better cause. So everybody certainly pay attention to Saks and the Ballgorithm and this amazing promotion during the World Series, and help raise awareness and money for testicular cancer research and treatment. Now, Pudge, we are on the verge of the World Series.
Balls, remember, playing with balls.
Yeah, no, nobody can forget that. We are right on the verge of the World Series, and I will knock on wood. I refuse to jinx anybody, but your Texas Rangers currently hold a lead on the Houston Astros. And Bruce Bochy has brought so much to this Rangers team, very evidently in remaking them year over year. What was your reaction like when he was hired, and how do you think he's helping them to this advantage over Houston?
Well, great news for us as an organization, having a future Hall of Famer as a manager with a lot of a lot of World Series champs and all the playoff and all the years winning ball games, and I think that's what we're looking in the offseason, this past offseason, to start with a manager like that with a lot of records, a lot of degree, and basically bringing Mike Maddox back into our pitching coaching situation is make us better. I know that we are playing good. Our players are doing a great job since spring training all the way into yesterday's game. But we have to give a lot of credit to the whole coaching staff and the whole front office. They're doing a great job. Chris Young is doing a great job in the offseason, signing great players. Montgomery, Evaldi. I mean, you name, and then Scherzer, bringing Scherzer later on in the year, and that tells you that we want to win. We want to win the World Series this year, not next year. So we want to win now, and so that's why we're playing really good. When you have a lineup like that, when you have a position players on the field that make plays for this great starting rotation and great bullpen, you're going to win a lot of games.
How would you compare the Rangers offenses that you were a part of to this team? Where would you and Juan Gonzalez hit in this lineup?
Well, it reminds me a lot about the offense that we had back in those days. Obviously, we have great hitters from first to nine, and that's what I see in this lineup. Great hitters from first to nine. We have a number 9 hitter right now in our team that basically he did a great job in these two last game, and hit a home run, hitting in the clutch and as a 9 hitter. And so when you have a 9 hitter, producing for the team, especially in this kind of game, that tells you how strong of the lineup we have. And what can you say about the middle lineup? I mean, is for me, if I'm if I'm facing the Rangers, I don't know what to do, to be honest with you. They don't have any holes. They're very aggressive, selective aggressive, and they don't miss too many pitches neither.
I guess if you're back there, you just hope they try to steal on you. You're like, I can get him this way. I don't know if I can call a game, but I can get him this way.
Well, yeah, that's important to mention too. The running game this year is different. I like the game, the way they're playing right now. I mean, you see guys that almost stole 100 bases this year. I mean, when was the last time you see a base runner steal almost 100 bases? That's back when Ricky Henderson was stealing 100 bases. So I think what we see in today's game is running the bases more aggressive, steal more, being scoring position quickly, obviously, and I think that's one of the reasons that we in this situation that we are in, because we are not only hitting the ball, so we're running the bases, we're running from first to third a lot in base hits, and that's how you win games. I mean, those are the little things in the game that nobody pay attention to, but when you see guys in first base, they run from first to third on a base hit, you're gonna win games like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the rule changes because I wanted to get your take on, obviously a lot more is coming too, and a lot of it involves the catching position. We're hearing about robot umpires. We're hearing about things that are going to change the game. What are your thoughts on that potential impact to umpiring in the strike zone?
Well, I think I'm okay with the game that baseball is being played today. I think that 20-second clock is great for me. I think it makes the game faster, less think about as a pitcher and as a hitter. I think the bases, the bigger bases for me, it doesn't do much for me because they're still pretty big bases anyway. I don't think that robot umpire behind the plate is not going to happen to me. I think I think with the squadron that we see on TV, I think that's plenty. I'm a big believer of having a human being behind the plate calling balls and strikes instead of the robot or a computer. There's still going to be an umpire behind calling balls and strike, but it's going to be what they're saying is that he's going to have a microphone in the ear, and then they're going to call balls and strikes. But anyway, I don't know what baseball is going to go as far as that. I think I like the way baseball is being played today with the replays and not throwing over too many times, stealing bases. I think this is a good baseball to watch right now.
The baseball now is incredible, but so is the baseball when you played. We're coming up in just a couple of days now on the 20th anniversary of your World Series run in Miami and the Steve Bartman game, the heartbreaker in Chicago. I would love to know from your perspective on the Marlins and in that dugout, what are your memories from that game? And when did you sort of feel that the Marlins had a chance to make that incredible comeback?
Basically, we didn't think about that. We was the underdog all playoff run, and basically we play with nothing to lose. And I think when you play with nothing to lose, guess what's happening? You win everything. For us, nothing that came to our head as far as we need to do this, we need to do that. I think the key that we did that year was coming into the ballpark ready to play 27 outs, 9 innings, and play as hard as we can and keep doing what we're doing. Because obviously, I think what we did good was that we play a lot into almost the end of the season because we win the wild card and we had to play pretty much into the last week or two of the season compared to these other playoff teams that they win way before, and all these regular players has a lot of day off. And I think that hurts the Giants, that hurts a little bit the Cubs offensively. But as far as that year, it was an unbelievable year, starting spring training. The only player the Marlins signed that year was me. And then my job was to understand the whole pitching staff, the whole rotation, starting rotation, it was the same rotation than the year before that they lost 95 games. And for me, it was more conversation, question and answers with the players, with the starting pitchers and the bullpen guys, and then spring training to know me a little bit, how I like to work behind the plate. How do you want to work with me during the game? And we got that really quick, and we started the season. We didn't start it well. First half for us was no good, and then we pick it up in the second half. Win the wild card, went to play the Giants, beat them in 4 with the good play that I'm making the last out in Miami. And then we went and played the Cubs and facing Mark Pryor and Kelly Wood and beat one of them in the first or second game. I don't know if I remember that. That was big for us. And the fan, I don't think he did nothing for us. I don't think that wasn't the reason that the Cubs lost this series. I think for me, the reason that the Cubs lost was the next pitch, the ground ball to shortstop to Gonzalez that went through his legs and scored 2 runs, and then Morokai came in and cleaned the bases with a double with bases loaded. I think that was the key for us, and I think that's the reason that I think the Cubs lost that series, just because of that play.
I totally agree with you. That performance, that series, one of the many reasons that you're in Cooperstown. I've got one more question for you. So since getting into the Hall of Fame, which Hall of Famers have you gotten closer to since being inducted? And who do you remember talking to on the day that you gave your speech?
Well, I get close to all of them. Obviously, when you become a Hall of Famer, is a community. You become a club, kind of like a membership. Let's say it like that, and we have to communicate. Obviously, for the guys that we think they should be in the Hall of Fame when they pass 10 years, we all getting emails from everybody and asking us what we think about this, and then we vote. It's kind of like, we have like a board in Cooperstown also as a player, but basically when every July when we induct the player into Cooperstown, we all there and have a great time. Spend time in that hotel. We all sit in different places, but the beautiful part about being in Cooperstown and being in that hotel, that the hotel is just for us. So every whoever you see in the lobby or in the pool or in the balcony is a Hall of Famer. So it's fun just to be there for that week.
Well, Pudge, thank you so much for talking to me today. And everybody check out Sachs for the incredible work that Pudge did and the work that they're doing for testicular cancer. Thank you so much for joining me.
Algorithm, go Sachs.
Yep, go Sachs, the algorithm indeed. And the video that dropped after Pudge and I spoke is much more intense than our conversation. The visuals, I'll leave it at that. You guys check it out yourselves if you haven't seen it. And speaking of the Hall of Fame, the modern managers and executives ballot dropped today for the Veterans Committee. We thank Peter Dewey for being here earlier in the show. Now it's just me chilling, talking to you for a couple of minutes, and thanks for joining us. Jim Leland, Cito Gaston, Davey Johnson on there, Joe West, Lou Piniella. Basically every manager that everybody envied from 1988 to 2014. I hope Lou gets in. I hope Leland gets in. I want to see these guys get in and give their speeches. And yes, umpire Joe West is also on the ballot, probably favored to be a part of that class as well. We might see a lot of umpires and managers this year. I'm just saying. But if you think Lou and Leland and Cito and Davey Johnson wouldn't give great speeches, then I don't know what to tell you. So hopefully Pudge is ready to help the Veterans Committee make a decision there. Before we sign off, just wanted to talk about the Red Sox GM search again, because it now looks like they are zeroing in on Craig Breslow to probably be the guy to either grab the reins or be the GM under a CBO and grab somebody, get Breslow in there and get somebody above Breslow as well. He's a pitching guru. He helped revitalize the Cubs' efforts. He was a Red Sox World Series champion. If you're wondering what he did between retirement and now, he's been pretty integral to the Cubs, development program. Justin Steele, Azalea, the guys who are coming through the Cub system. Yeah, a lot of talent there, but not quite a battle-tested name. And, if Chaim Bloom's problem in Boston was the lack of aggression, struggle with pressing the button, struggle with being the final word on difficult transactions, Breslow doesn't seem to have any of that experience either. So you wonder if it's sort of a lateral move, if there was a different direction they could have gone. I think they talked to and lost out on the best possible candidate for the Red Sox job this week. They talked to James Click, who helped build the Astros in the wake of Jeff Lunau's departure, who turned them into a machine again. He took the core and he added pieces, unbelievable scouting, unbelievable player development, You want to talk about somebody who pressed all the right buttons, led the Astros to, I think, the best version we've ever seen of the Astros was 2022. Click and Jim Crane, the owner, somehow butt heads in Houston. He ends up leaving during the GM meetings last year. Robert was live from the site talking about, hey, we don't really know what's going on here. We don't know how this is all possible. But if you can get Click in the building, I think you do it. He grew up with Chaim Bloom. They worked at Baseball Prospectus together. They worked at the Rays together. They went to Yale together. And spoiler alert, I think that's why the Red Sox could not close the deal here. Right now, Click is just, he's advising the Blue Jays. He's in the Blue Jays front office. He's not the head honcho. He's not calling the shots. He backed out of consideration for the Red Sox job with familial concerns. Now, what are these familial concerns that everybody has that's backing out of the Red Sox job? Raquel Ferreira, internal candidate, said the same thing. Is it that their families don't want to move in 3 years after the Red Sox can them for either executing ownership's plan to perfection or not being perfect, not being Dave Dombrowski, not winning 108 games? All sarcasm aside, I think Click was your guy. I think Kim Ng will do a fantastic job if they're able to get her in there, maybe above Breslow. I think Breslow is a solid B of a hire if he's the highest in command. If it's like Breslow and O'Halloran and Eddie Romero and the internal people just sticking around, yeah, not bad. Good name, good voice to have in the room, but I really think the Red Sox had a chance at an absolute home run here, and they let him walk out the door. Probably not a good idea to interview one of Chaim Bloom's oldest friends after ushering Bloom out the door after he put up the track record he did. That is it for this edition of the Baseball Insiders. We will see you again next Monday. Robert Murray and I will be right back here. Make sure to become a member on YouTube. Join the Discord if you haven't. Please come along with us. Ask Robert and I the questions that you may have between shows. All you have to do to join that Discord is become a YouTube member, just 99 cents a month. Trust me, you're going to want to be in there for the off season. DraftKings is the sponsor of today's show. The code is Baseball Insider. If you opt in as a new user and you are eligible and you qualify, you can get a no sweat single game parlay every single day when you sign up. It's a postseason baseball promotion you won't want to miss. We thank DraftKings for that. Shout out to the comment section. Shout out to Hall of Famer Pudge Rodríguez. Thanks to Peter Dewey for talking Phillies, Astros, Rangers, and D-backs with me. Hey, I see some Philly fans are buying tickets at the stadium in Arizona just so they can not show up. Like Phillies fans who aren't flying down there just so that they could have empty seats. Don't do that. Not cool. Just fly down there. Go see yourself a baseball game. Again, the airplane tickets and the tickets to the stadium and the get-in price are cheaper than going to Philly. You psychos at Citizens Bank Park have made that a completely untenable ticket, but it's still the best home field advantage in baseball right now. We'll see how that series turns out. We'll see if the Rangers are able to get their must win on tonight, and we'll be right back Monday talking about these series and the World Series to come. For Robert Murray, for Peter Dewey, for Yvonne Pudge Rodriguez, I'm Adam Weiner. Thanks for joining us on the Baseball Insider.